Hey golfers, it's Dave from Fit2 Golf. I'm doing an update to my review of the TS-2 Forged Irons from the Golfworks for two reasons. One is I built a set of these for myself, 5-through pitching wedge, and I carried them in my bag for the last 2 months or so of the season. And B, I've made some swing changes that have helped me to get better performance out of the club. And because of those two reasons, I think I can offer some more nuanced information that'll hopefully be helpful to anyone who's considering a set of TS-2 irons. So let's get started. Now, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch my original review, which is from about a year ago on my channel. I initially reviewed this, a 7-iron with a Nippon 950 NS Pro GH shaft, regular flex, 94 grams. And I went into some more detail about the club head and the game improvement designs there. But let me do a quick recap of the most important design features of this club. This is a 3-piece hollow-bodied iron design. The body and the face are forged. There's also an internal tungsten weight that is moved by the manufacturer, by the designer, to maximize CG and launch conditions through each of the irons. The irons are hollow except for the pitching wedge and gap wedge, and that hollow space between the face and the body is filled with some kind of mystery polymer that's meant to maybe add some springiness to the already thin face, but primarily help with sound and feel. Now, while this is a game improvement iron, it really doesn't look it, other than the top line is kind of a medium thick, and there's a little bit of offset, but not too much. The club head size is not overly large. It's not an oversized iron, and so it looks kind of getting closer to a player's distance iron, although I think that designation really goes to the big brother TS1. Now, when I did my first review, I said that using a 94-gram shaft was a little bit too light for me. I thought I had some trouble finding the sweet spot with that, so I went with a heavier shaft this time. I still really like the Nippon NS Pro GH line, but I wanted something heavier and a little stiffer to hopefully lower the launch a little and add some control. So I went with the 1050 GH. I really like this shaft. It's very golfer friendly. If you have a smooth to moderate tempo, it's worth checking out. And even at 105 grams, it's still, a lightweight steel. In addition to the really great quality control at Nippon, one of the things I like is their shafts are constant weight. So they come in discrete lengths for each club, and that way the weight stays constant for the shafts anyway across the set. And that's true even in parallel tips, and that's what I got for these. So you don't do any tip trimming, you just install them. I did flow them, and they really perform well. So I'll put up some swings from the indoor range. You'll get a sense of the sound of the club. If you listen carefully, you'll be able to tell which ones I hit really solidly and which ones were mishits, and I wanted to include those for that reason. This has a really nice sound. Some hollow body clubs have a reputation of being overly loud. This is not. This has a very muted, solid feeling and sound when you hit the center of the club. You do get some feedback in terms of sound and feel when you miss the center of the club, but I think that's important. You want that feedback to know how well you struck the iron. So to me, it feels like any other forged club, and not that kind of dead, very forgiving kind of feel that you can sometimes get from game improvement irons. This is going to appeal to, I think, the mid-handicap to a better player. Now, before we get into the numbers, and I'm using 7-iron numbers here as I usually do in reviews, let me remind everyone what I was getting in terms of performance when I tested this almost a year ago. I was getting ball speeds of 105, swinging at 83 miles an hour, and getting an average carry of 147, and that was really due to poor ball striking. It was a smash factor of 1.27 on average. And a year ago, my best numbers were right around a carry of 151. And at the time I said I thought that was a little low. I could get better numbers out of a more game improvement club, and I didn't think that I really was getting the most out of this one. Well, now with making some swing changes, which basically are promoting a more in-to-out swing and maybe a little later release, and certainly a better smash factor. What the numbers I'm going to read are with a smash factor of 1.34 with a 7-iron. Here are the numbers I got with a recent test. Swinging at 82 miles an hour, so 1 mile an hour less than last year on average. I was getting ball speeds of 110, carry 155, launch angle of 16.2, spin of 5800, and a peak height of 81 feet. And my best swings were getting the 111, 112 ball speed mile per hour at similar swing speed, and getting a carry of 160. And for me, those are really good numbers, and that tells me that I can get more out of this. It also tells me that by pairing it with the right shaft and making some swing changes, I was able to get 8 or 9 miles an hour more on average out of this club compared to when I was swinging it the old way. So when I first did the review, I said the pros were the performance, the looks, the feel, all that's still true. I said one kind of con was the cost, and I'm going to take that back now. After seeing what some of the OEMs are charging for their hollow-bodied irons that I don't think perform any better, $50 a head is I'm going to say a bargain. I think it's very, very reasonable for the technology that's involved here. Right now, the only con I can list about this club is that the medallion on the back of the club, the back of the cavity, seems to be a little delicate. As you can see from the pictures here, I got a little bit of a dent in that medallion on my 5-iron. Sure, I could be using head covers, some of this is to be expected, but I think that could be a little more durable, and that's really the only ding that I can make about this club. I know that was low-hanging fruit. So with more experience with this club and getting more out of the performance that's available in this technology, I've raised my rating to an Eagle. I'm really enjoying these clubs. I'm sorry that I can't play golf right now to continue to use them otherwise in the indoor range, because they're just great feeling, and that's the feedback I've gotten from other golfers too. So let me know what you think of the update. Let me know if you've considered these, if you have already bought them, built a set. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay positive.